Hello and welcome to the Sunday Guardian with JOYEETA Basu. I am JOYEETA Basu, the editor of the newspaper published from New Delhi. In this show, we will discuss and analyze news from all over the world regularly. Today, let's talk about Taiwan, now that the US Speaker of the House of Representatives, Nancy Pelosi, has reached that country. Why is Taiwan so important not just to China, but also to the world, including India? Is it just because of Beijing's One China policy, where it considers Taiwan to be Chinese territory and seeks reunification? Or is there more to it? Actually, if you look at it, there's a strategic dimension to this question. Why Taiwan matters to the world? Now, there's a theory called the island chain theory, now which the Chinese say is being used by the United States to contain China. Now, there's a first island chain. If you look at the map, if you look towards South China Sea and East China Sea, there's a first island chain, which is a chain of islands comprising Japan, Taiwan, Philippines, etc. Now, these are island nations that are blocking China's direct access to the Indo-Pacific. And when I say Indo-Pacific, I'm talking about the Western Pacific Ocean on China's left and the Indian Ocean on its right. Now, China knows that to establish itself as the #1 hegemon in the world, it needs to control the Indo-Pacific. It is important for it to control the sea lanes and the island nations dotting this area, part of which is also known as Micronesia. Now, this is important. Now, it is important for China to control this area primarily for commercial and military purposes. So, because of which it wants untrammeled access to the oceans. Now, but if it gets unhindered access to the Pacific, now it also heightens the possibility of China getting into a direct confrontation with the US. Because if you look at the map, just southeast of Taiwan is located the island of Guam, in fact less than 3,000 kilometers away. Now, Guam is US territory and a US military base where even Indian fighter pilots have undergone training. And if China turns east, then there is Hawaii and the North Pacific and the US West Coast. Now, which should explain why it is so important that the first island chain is not breached by China. Because then what happens? China gets complete access to the oceans and everybody's security is under threat, right from Australia to New Zealand to the US, right down to India, everywhere. Now, so when China talks about reunification of Taiwan with the mother country, it is not just about correcting history, but also about China eyeing Taiwan with its focus on the US and its focus on world domination. And then if we are looking at Taiwan's importance to the world, there is an economic dimension to it. You see, Taiwan's technology companies have invested around $480 billion in China. Now, Taiwan excels in manufacturing computer hardware and semiconductors. In fact, if you look at some of the biggest names in this area, they are all Taiwanese, sorry. Now, they are Acer, Asus, HTC, Foxconn in collaboration with Apple. There is Quanta Computer, there is Pegatron. In fact, China, if it has a tech edge, it is primarily because of Taiwan and the current worth of the Taiwanese investment in China is in the range of $1 trillion. So if you are looking at, but as the need for supply chain resilience, which means diversifying of manufacturing, grows, now some of this investment is looking elsewhere, even to India, as part of Taiwanese President Tsai Ing-wen's southbound policy. Also, until and unless Joe Biden removes the tariffs imposed on China by Donald Trump, making in China has become prohibitive for Taiwanese and other companies that want to sell to the West. So even if 15 to 20% of this investment moves to India, we are the major gainers. Also, significantly remember that Taiwan wants to invest in the Northeast where China is not allowed entry. So there's a lot that India and Taiwan can do as technology partners. Then of course there is the intelligence angle. Now, Taiwan is a very good listening post. Taiwan can provide us the best intelligence anyone can get on China, because there is a very strong cross-strait relationship between China and Taiwan. Primarily because people-to-people relationship. It is like partition that has happened in our country, somewhat like that. Across the strait, they are still very, they're very close-knit even now. And last but not the least, it is important that independent nations do not fall prey to a communist-ruled country that lacks the moral compass to respect the sovereignty of nations. In this battle against authoritarianism, the democracies need to stand together in defense of the values that they represent, so that the Chinese bully is not able to remake the world with communist Chinese characteristics. And that is why democracy like Taiwan is important to the world. Thank you for watching. Until the next time.